Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about the new movie Avatar: Fire and Ash. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing. That way maybe one day I can visit a place like Pandora, although I'll probably be killed by a plant. I really enjoy the Avatar universe even with its flaws, so I was very excited to check this movie out. So without further ado, let's get into the 6 things that make a movie great. 1. The plot. Essentially, Fire and Ash picks up after the Way of Water. There's a lot of stress and pain and mourning going on after the death of Jake and Neytiri's eldest, Neteyam. Neytiri really wants to kill Spider, and so they decide to send him back to the humans where he'll fit in better and not die. As they go to drop him off, they are ambushed by this new tribe that wears red paint, led by a crazy leader named Varang. Everyone gets separated, and while they're trying to regroup and heal, the RDA is still hunting Jake and Neytiri down, and now they have to deal with this absolute wild card of a tribe that's hunting them as well. Obviously, there are a ton of subplots and side stories happening amongst that, but that is the main storyline of this film, and it does feel quite similar to the second movie. Now, I will say I like the plot for this movie slightly better than Avatar 2, and I think the inclusion of the Ash people is really interesting, but there were certainly a lot of similarities between these two movies. Now, there were some conveniences in the plot that allowed the story to continue in the way it was supposed to, but overall this just feels like another epic chapter in James Cameron's Avatar story. And the scale and intricacies and all the different storylines that are going on within this plot are very interesting and fun to watch. So though flawed, I still have to give plot a thumbs up. 2 is family friendliness. Avatar: Fire and Ash is rated PG-13. Now there is a mild to moderate bit of profanity and a whole lot of violence and action in this movie. There are also a couple suggestive scenes of drug use, and obviously just a lot of bare skin out there. But I would say the violence alone is a reason not to bring your kids to this movie. But there is another major factor of why you should probably not bring your kids, and that is the fact that this movie, once again, is 3.5 hours long. If your child cannot sit through a 3-hour long movie, do not bring them and ruin everyone else's theater experience. Do not be that person, hire a babysitter, please. There are also some pretty dark and morbid things in this movie. Probably the darkest that we've seen out of the trilogy so far. So with those things in mind, I have to give family friendliness a thumbs down. 3 is acting and script. I thought the acting in this movie was really good. There were some things that I didn't really like that happened in the second movie, script-wise and acting-wise. Those things were shored up a bit and were better in this movie. But everyone gave excellent acting performances, and there wasn't an acting performance that pulled you out of the movie. What did pull you out of the movie a little bit was the script. In the first quarter of this movie, Loak uses the word bro like 55 times, and it stuck out like a sore thumb in this movie. And I get that they're trying to represent the combining of cultures of human and Na'vi, but since Loak is the only one using the word bro, it just didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and it was extremely annoying. Other than that, like both movies before it, there were a couple cheesy script moments, but that's just how these movies roll. Outside of those moments, the script for this movie I thought was really well done, and the decisions that all these characters made sense within the script from all 3 movies. So for me, acting and script get a thumbs up. 4 is character development. It's nice to have 2 movies before this one so that you can focus on the character development that you want, but it doesn't make it any less challenging. But what I liked in this movie was not only did we get the introduction of new characters that had good character development themselves, but you also got to see a lot of development with characters like Loak, Neytiri, Spider, and even Quaritch. I do feel like Jake is still being shafted in character development because he went from this awesome, cool human marine to this drill sergeant Na'vi father to now just being this bitter dad. And his character development and progression is the one that I've struggled with the most to feel like is good. Everyone else in this movie, I think, has had really good character development, and I liked the attention that this movie paid to each of those characters. So for me, character development gets a thumbs up. 5 is visuals and CGI. Now, this may surprise you, but one of the biggest issues I had with this movie is this area of the film. So a lot of the showings for this movie were in 3D. I do not like 3D. It messes with my brain. So me and my family went to a 2D showing. The first quarter of this movie felt like it was shot in 3D, somehow with editing was changed to 2D. I don't really know how to explain it, but it felt completely off and was completely different from the rest of the movie. Not only was that effect going on, but it also felt like a lot of the camera work in the first quarter of the movie was shot with a GoPro, which I don't know how you facilitate that feeling while you're shooting shooting a movie that's primarily CGI and motion capture, but that's what it felt like, and it completely threw off the first quarter of the film. But after the first quarter of the movie, everything regulates and it was great. We're back to the amazing visuals and CGI that these movies have had historically. The only other disappointment that I would express is that there were only like 2 new creatures and 1 new tribe in this movie, and so a lot of what we're seeing and why this movie feels so much the same is that you're seeing the same things we've seen before, done very much so in the exact same way. But I would have liked to see a few more new things, and I feel like they could have done that. Barring the first quarter of this movie, for me, visuals and CGI get a thumbs up. And 6 is rewatchability. Avatar: Fire and Ash is 3 hours and 17 minutes long. And you can definitely feel how long this movie is, but it didn't bother me. I do think they could have cut down on this movie a little bit to make it a bit more neat, but that is not the James Cameron way, baby. This Avatar universe is incredible, and the stories that are being told are pretty awesome and long form. Now, I still think that the first Avatar movie is the best one, but this movie was a great addition to the franchise so far. Now, I wouldn't watch this movie over and over again and all the time, but it certainly is a movie that I wouldn't mind watching again. So for me, rewatchability gets a thumbs up. With all these areas considered, I have to give Avatar: Fire and Ash an 8 out of 10. There were a number of things that held this movie back from being absolutely incredible, whether it be plot conveniences or annoyances or the way the movie was shot in certain areas. But for the most part, the CGI was incredible, the plot carried on decently, and the character-driven stories throughout this universe progressed nicely in this film. And it was fun to watch another epic movie in movie theaters with all of this stuff going on. So with all that in mind, if you enjoyed the first 2 Avatar movies, you will definitely enjoy this one as well, and it is quite a sight to see in the movie theater. In fact, I can easily say that this is one of the only movies of the year that is actually worth spending your money and going to see on a big screen in movie theaters. There have not been that many, but this is definitely one of them. Thank you so much for watching. If you've seen Avatar: Fire and Ash, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Which movie is your favorite of the 3 so far? As always, I appreciate your love and support, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one.